Sometimes when I look in the mirror, I'd feel both fat and small at the same time.
Feeling what you actually are, it isn't a disorder. It's recognizing reality. Coach Greg, in today's video, our favorite dropout dentista, Jeff Nippa, he has body dysmorphia. And so he posted a video, how I got over my body dysmorphia. Many of you bodybuilders, fitness enthusiasts, Coach Greg fans, Jeff Nippert fans, many of you suffer from body dysmorphia. Now, my personal opinion is that Jeff doesn't actually have body dysmorphia. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't feel a little bit small or perhaps not as lean as he'd like, but that is totally normal. If you're involved in bodybuilding, lifting weights, self-improvement, of course you're not going to feel like you're perfect, like there's room for improvement. That is something all of us share. And so I highly doubt that you're out there, that you're watching this video and you're training and you're thinking, yeah, I don't want to get bigger. I don't want to get leaner. I don't want to get stronger. I don't want to improve my cardio. Most of us want to improve. And so just because you want to improve doesn't mean you have some form of a disorder. And yeah, I get it. It's 2026. For some reason, the world thinks that everything needs a diagnosis. Everyone suffers from this, suffers from that. They're on the spectrum. They're off the spectrum. They have the autism. They have body dysmorphia. But I don't think that Jeff actually has it. And so let's talk about, how do you know if you have it? How do you know if you don't? And what can you in fact do about it?
Sometimes when I look in the mirror, I'd feel both fat and small at the same time.
Well, technically, he is small. I mean, he's a 5'5" manlet. He's even shorter than Coach Greg. And so, yeah, of course he's small. Feeling what you actually are, it isn't a disorder. It's recognizing reality. Now, if Jeff Nippa was 6'5", which technically he is when he's sitting on his wallet, he wouldn't feel small at all. He'd probably weigh 230 pounds. He'd be huge. But he's 5'5", and so is it actually a disorder to feel what you are? Body dysmorphia is when you look in the mirror and you don't see an accurate reflection of what is presented in front of it. You have 5% body fat, but you think that you're fat. Jeff Nippert in the off-season typically was hovering around 20% body fat. 5'5", perhaps weighing a little bit over 180. That is not by bodybuilding standards considered lean. And it's not very heavy. And so he has an accurate reflection of what he actually is. And that is not a disorder. That is being smart and recognizing his strengths and his weaknesses. He knows that he's strong. Pound for pound, he's strong. And he also knows that for his height, for being a manlet, he does have a respectable amount of muscle, especially considering the fact that he's natural. Now, if he actually had body dysmorphia, would he in fact pose with his shirt off? Would he not cover himself up, perhaps wearing several layers of clothing to go to the gym? Would he be taking steroids, SARMs, peptides in order to add in more muscle because he feels small? Or would he be taking, for example, various GLPs or fat burners in order to get leaner? If he's able to do none of these things and go about his day, not avoid social situations, not be shy to take his shirt off, then how is that a disorder? In fact, I believe he has more confidence with his appearance than almost everyone. And so I believe Jeff is the opposite of someone who has body dysmorphia.
I measured a professional natural bodybuilder at 8% body fat. He'd been brutally dieting for months, and people online still said he looked kind of average. That's how warped our expectations have gotten.
I mean, I've checked out this guy. You can go to his channel. Bro is literally winning competitions in men's physique. He isn't average at all. He's actually elite. Now, if he looked in the mirror and said, I have more body fat than Jeff. Jeff has a way better physique than me. If he thought he was below average, then that would represent body dysmorphia. If he thought, I can't get up on stage like this, I need performance-enhancing drugs, I'm fat, or like Mr. Mike getting inches of skin cut out and having the fat cells sucked out, that represents body dysmorphia. If you're at the point of needing, not just wanting surgeries, but almost needing them, going through with them, that is a sign. We've all heard of those disorders involving not eating a lot of food, or for example, eating a lot of food, but then visiting the washroom. That is a sign of body dysmorphia. And so if you're simply using an app and tracking all of your calories, I heard of Macro Factor. I do believe that Jeff is likely using it. That doesn't mean you have body dysmorphia. You're allowed to track all the food that you're eating. You're allowed to have a healthy diet, to do 150 minutes of cardio a week, and take your freaking supplements, and that does not represent body dysmorphia.
I measured a professional natural bodybuilder at 8% body fat. He'd been brutally dieting for months, and people online still said he looked kinda average.
Half of the problem is people actually care about bro from Bangladesh. Guys, he lives in Bangladesh. How could you care? I mean, David Goggins had a saying, your haters are not doing better than you. All the haters out there who are hating on you, writing, Coach Greg's a snake oil salesman, whatever. You really think they're doing better than me? And so why would you care?
I used to think that if I could just get a bit more shredded, it'd make me happier. And it can, but not if your mindset isn't healthy.
Well, yeah, being a bit more shredded can make you happier, but not if you take it too far. If you diet to the point where you're perhaps single-digit body fat and now you have lower levels of testosterone, you don't have as much energy, you have brain fog, you're hungry all the time, it isn't worth it. But if you're obese, if you're 25% body fat or more for a man, and you go on a diet, you purchase my frigging cookbook, you get a coach, you join the gym, and you try to do better, this isn't a disorder, it's something that you want. Don't confuse wanting to improve and feeling that you have more to offer with being disordered. Body dysmorphic disorder is a clinical mental health disorder, not just dissatisfaction. A person is preoccupied with a perceived flaw in their appearance. That flaw is either minor or not noticeable to others, and the concern is intense, intrusive, and hard to control. And so the key difference is the intensity plus the impairment. And so body dysmorphia, it's not about the high standards, it's about distortion and dysfunction. If your goal is to be a Mr. Olympia competitor, you're going to the gym, you're training harder than last time, you're on an immaculate diet, but you want to put on 50 pounds of muscle. You look in the mirror and you're thinking, I'm small. I'm not big enough, but all it's doing is causing you to train harder than last time. You're not missing out on social functions. You go to the gym, you train. You're not avoiding the mirror every single day. You're not depressed. You don't stare away every time there's a mirror, and you live a normal life. You're just really wanting to put on all of that muscle. It's not a disorder. You just want more. And so if I raised my stomach, I said, oh my goodness, I have so much fat. Look at this. I can't let people know that I have fat. And you look in the mirror almost every single day for hours. You're scared. You can't take off your shirt. You go to the gym and you have 3 layers of clothes on. You cannot show to the world what your arms look like underneath because they're twigs, they're toothpicks. It's embarrassing. You can't get a girlfriend. What if she sees me naked? I have no muscle. Meanwhile, you're 5'6", 200 pounds shredded. There's your disorder. You're all day swiping left, swiping right, thinking, I'm not good enough. I don't compare. Or asking constantly for validation. Do you think I look good? Am I good looking enough? I'm ugly. All day long. You can't get it out of your mind. You would be experiencing significant distress or life disruption. You can't possibly go to the beach. Are you kidding me? What would happen if they saw me with my shirt off? I'm not going to that party. They might see how bad I look. I'm staying alone in my house by myself. You would think, no, you are all bigger than me. I'm tiny. And they're looking up at you and thinking, what are you on, bro? You're like literally out benching me by 200 pounds. You're a foot taller. What are you talking about? But yet they don't see that because they have body dysmorphia.
Nowadays, rather than fixating on how my body looks, I focus much more on how my body feels and performs.
And progress, Gress mentioned, it doesn't relieve the distress. It oftentimes, in fact, makes it worse. And so as you're progressing, you're looking and you're thinking, no, it's not even close. There's no way. And so imagine that person that isn't eating. We can't say that name. They've lost weight. They're suddenly 85 pounds. They feel fat. When they were 135 pounds, they felt all right. But somehow they developed body dysmorphia, and it kept getting worse the leaner that they got. And so if you just say, you know, my biceps are too small. I feel fat. Look how small I am. Compared to C-Bum, I mean, his physique, it mogs. It's not body dysmorphia. You're being a realist. C-Bum's physique does mog. If you feel inferior to others who are in fact better than you, that is called being normal. And so I do not see Jeff Nipaw as having body dysmorphia. But remember, I can't be certain. I'm not reading his mind. I'm not inside of his body. Maybe he does. It's possible. But what I'm saying is that most likely, most people who think they have body dysmorphia, just because they perhaps don't exactly love the appearance that they see in the mirror, it's normal. Having high standards, never being satisfied, wanting to come out on top, tracking all of your macros, doing cardio, lifting weights every single day, watching all of my videos and still saying, this is not enough. That's normal. That is what we want. That's what fuels us. That's what drives us to be better. But if it's taking over your life, you can't have friends. You hate your body. It's despicable. It's ugly. Health is in the toilet. You went to Algorex, you got your blood work done, and heavens forbid, you're a mess. You've been abusing Tren and the doses keep going up, but yet you still feel small. The doctor has said, you got to come off. This is not healthy. You're going to die, but yet you keep doing it. Body dysmorphia. But getting over to HGLT supplements and getting a 10-pack of Turk Builder Max because you're not satisfied with your physique and you want to push harder. Getting G-Test Platinum to boost your testosterone or getting Blue Lobster every single day to go to the gym. These are not disorders.
If you're making gains in the gym in a healthy and sustainable way, you're doing great. Be proud of that. And if you're really struggling, you're definitely not alone. It's okay to ask for help and talk to a professional.
Quintin Pulliam. Even after 16 years of lifting, most days I also feel like I look chunky or small. That doesn't mean you have a disorder. Quintin Pulliam in the off season, he isn't 5% body fat. I forget what he is, but perhaps he's 15. You're allowed to feel small when you're a 5'6" manlet and you're natural because in comparison, if he was blasting performance-enhancing drugs, namely Test and Tren, he'd be much bigger. And so when he compares himself and everyone on social media, remember comparison is the thief. Stop comparing. You're going to feel small. When I look in the mirror, I don't feel small because I'm not a moron. But if I compare myself to C-Bum, absolutely I'm small, but I don't compare myself because comparison is the thief. In life, remember, you have to ask yourself, what would Greg do? Perhaps you don't follow Jesus. If you don't follow Jesus, you can follow me. You can subscribe right now and say, what would Greg do? And so if I was Quintin, I would look in the mirror and I would say, let me compare myself to other natural bodybuilders, natties, and then say, do I feel small? Do I feel fat? You'll quickly realize that he isn't either of those things. And so in the end, I wanted to make this video so that the average person understands the difference between body dysmorphia and just having high standards and wanting more. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you are suffering in the way that I described here, where it's negatively affecting your life, of course, go and get some help. Speak to a psychiatrist, a doctor. Try and figure it out. It's not worth going through life feeling miserable, chasing some standard that is literally impossible. And to the same extent, there's like a reverse body dysmorphia. If you're morbidly obese, you're 400 pounds, and you're thinking, yeah, but body positivity, that's like a reverse body dysmorphia. You look in the mirror, you're 400 pounds, and you don't feel like you're fat. You're thinking, no, I try really hard. You got to go see a doctor for that as well. Listen, you can in fact take Ozempic, you can take Tirzepatide, you can go for walks, you can lift weights, you can put the fork down, you can get my cookbook. And so you don't have to live thinking that you're healthy when you're not. And remember, obesity is a disease. And so you can in fact take medications. Now, if you want to take some various GLPs and clomiphene, Cialis, Tadalafil, the list goes on and on. You go to AlgoRx, compare their prices to Merrick Health and see how much lower that they are. And thank me later. You can use code GREG for a further discount. And don't forget, HLC Supplements has GLP Max. Reduce your hunger by 28%. Code GREG, 15% off. And so whether you have body dysmorphia, thinking that you're way worse than you are, or you have a reverse body dysmorphia, thinking you're not as bad as you are, Neither are good. And so get your shit together and go talk to a doctor. Remember, I am not a doctor. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algo, go to AlgoreX. Also, don't forget to watch one of those two boops. One, that's it. You can't watch them both. If you want to be sponsored, if you want to get coached by me and my team, or if you want to have the supplements, listed out here, you can't see them all, there's tons, sold in your gyms and or stores, click the link right now. And until next time, I am out.